杰荣现年93岁，音译杰罗姆·艾伦·柯恩，是美国著名的中国及东亚法律专家。他是前哈佛大学法学院副院长，现任纽约大学法学院教授暨亚美法研究所共同主任，同时也是外交关系协会兼任资深研究员，宝维斯律师事务所资深顾问。他抵达中国大陆时正值文革批孔运动高潮，为了避免不必要的麻烦，从那时候开始他在中国大陆地区惯用的中文名为柯恩。1964年，孔杰荣被聘为哈佛大学法学院教授，他在那里前后待了17年，创立了学校的东亚法律研究会。这段期间，他不时主张与中国实现关系正常化。1972年，孔杰荣以美国科学家联盟访问团团员的身份，终于进入了中国大陆，并见到了中国总理周恩来。1977年，他陪同参议员泰德·肯尼迪到北京会见了邓小平。1972年，孔杰荣成为第一批访问北韩的美国学者之一。1973年8月，他曾协助拯救被绑架的金大中。金后来在1997年成为大韩民国总统，并于2000年获得诺贝尔和平奖。1979年，中国改革开放之后，对外国投资者而言，孔杰荣稀有的中国法律专业使他成为抢手的人物。1980年，他获得了一个前所未有的机会，可让他在中国生活且发展所长。于是他向哈佛大学请了年假，到北京向商务官员教授美国的合同法。次年，当假期即将结束时，他决定留在中国并进入了宝维斯律师事务所工作。1989年6·4事件爆发，宝维斯关闭了其香港办公室，孔杰荣也回到美国，并在1990年受聘为纽约大学法学院教授，同时担任宝维斯律师事务所的资深顾问。后来他在纽约大学成立了亚美法研究所，致力于促进整个亚洲的法治发展。孔杰荣在台湾的影响力相当大，中华民国总统马英九在哈佛大学深造时是他的学生，马的夫人周美青亦曾是他的人权事务研究助理。1985年，孔在台湾政治犯吕秀莲被释放的过程中发挥了关键作用。吕在哈佛大学求学时亦是他的学生，后来成为中华民国副总统。孔杰荣在一生中对提倡人权一直努力不懈，除了关注中国的法律改革，在推动释放政治犯方面也产生了积极的作用。他也经常在南华早报的双周专栏里评论有关中国大陆和台湾的人权问题。2012年，他协助逃离软禁的中国维权运动人士陈光诚到美国纽约大学就读。孔杰荣教授虽然已是93岁高龄，但他依然思维敏捷，记忆力超群。本次节目截取自中国人权律师滕彪对他的访谈。
I remember a meeting that I had with about a dozen human rights lawyers in China in a coffee shop of a Beijing hotel about 2006. Gao Zhisheng was there, and we had a discussion. Should lawyers do what you're saying and try to operate within the system, even though the system was still quite restrictive? Or should they go political all out? And I said they should operate within the system and gradually try to expand their rights and powers. Gao Zhisheng disagreed. He said, we'll never have a legal system that's fair until we get rid of the Communist Party's monopoly. And I said, you're right, but if you go on talking like that, you're not going to be any good for anybody, because you will be suppressed. And that's what happened. Where is he today?
You know, he was disappeared again and again and again. He was severely, brutally tortured many times. And then, so the last time he was taken away 7 years ago.
You bet.
Yeah.
And is he dead? Is he alive? We don't know.
We don't know. Even his wife, his children don't know whether or not he's still alive. But we heard a little bit of information. He's still alive, but totally controlled by the secret police.
That's what I believe. Navalny could speak. Navalny reached the people. He had contact with lawyers. He appeared in court. Gao no longer is with us.
Yeah.
And he's not the only one.
Right. So Navalny could have like a press conference when he was in prison. He could communicate with his colleagues, his lawyers, and he could send messages out. But Chinese political prisoners could not imagine that kind of situation.
So there are big differences still between the PRC system and the Putin system in Russia.
Yeah. So could you elaborate it? So, China's legal system, the PRC system, is impacted by Soviet Union. But after Soviet Union collapsed, and then Putin became the dictator, but still there's a huge, profound difference between Russia and China.
Of course, to be fair, we should note that although political prisoners seem to have a little more visibility in Russia, they also get killed. China doesn't kill so many people who are political prisoners. They let them rot in jail until they die. Is that an important difference?
Very important.
And of course, China has the death penalty formally and uses it much more than other countries. So it's a very strange amalgam, a mixture of systems, history, tradition, contemporary philosophy, politics, not much law.
Yeah, one point is the Chinese Communist Party will not allow any political prisoner, any dissident or human rights activist to be as powerful as Nelson Mandela or Walesa or Havel or Aung San Suu Kyi. So they will not tolerate that.
Yeah. Total suppression.
Right.
Yeah.
And in China, even like Liu Xiaobo, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, the majority of Chinese people don't know this name. And the vast majority of Chinese don't have any idea of Gao Zhisheng or Xu Zhiyong. No.
Xi Jinping controls the media, absolutely. So they can't learn about these things.
So can we say that's the difference between authoritarianism and totalitarianism?
Totalitarianism is total. And with the new instruments of technology, it can be more total than in the past. So China has, I think, now more suppression than under Chairman Mao.
Yeah.
Technology makes it possible, even though they keep the traditional system of spying on each other, the household areas where everybody knows your business and where they watch you. That's very traditional. That's gone on for centuries in China. But the communists have improved it.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I coined the terminology the high-tech totalitarianism.
That's good.
So so what's happening in China is kind of beyond the imagination of George Orwell's 1984. So the technology, the big data, the surveillance cameras, the social credit system, everything, and even the DNA collections, and facial recognition, artificial intelligence. And it's very, very powerful and effective in controlling the individuals and the society.
But Professor Pei-Min Shin has just published a book that shows the human intelligence, the human spies all around are still more important.
Yes, yeah.
And that's quite fascinating.
That's interesting. Yeah, in Chinese we say like 朝阳群众. So the informants, the people, and could serve as spies, as informants spying on the community. So the mass line, the mass mobilization in Mao Zedong era still.
And we still get some Chinese professors who go to our law schools and looking for moral, intellectual support. So it's not entirely hopeless for the future. How long will Xi Jinping live? Who knows?
So in China, even the cases related to like a contract, like an intellectual property or theft, the arbitrary power or guanxi could manipulate the legal system.
You bet. And powerful people can get the police to do their work. They can lock you up if you don't say the right thing about the contract. And they'll keep you until you agree to sign, even though that has no legal effect because it's coercion. But this often happens. The use of local police is very arbitrary.
So are we implying that simply regarding the application of law, China's system is worse than Nazi Germany?
I don't know enough about Nazi Germany. I do know, of course, that many Nazi judges did terrible things and justified awful acts. But I have never made a systematic comparison. But it's not very attractive to China to do one.
So recently I was reading books written by Giorgio Agamben. So he has some ideas like following the tradition of Carl Schmitt, like a state of emergency, state of exception. So
Who is this?
It's an Italian philosopher. He's like 80 years old today. So he used the idea like a state of exception to criticize the policies during COVID-19. But of course, this kind of a theory was criticized by many, but it seems to be applicable to China. That Xi Jinping, the Communist Party, could use the chance of COVID-19 to exercise a state of emergency or state of exception, and then to tighten its control of the society.
And that's fascinating because COVID and the restrictions the party imposed made many Chinese people enemies of the legal system.
Yeah.
COVID was the worst. I have former students who are back in China, and they've described to me in person when they come here. COVID showed how arbitrary Chinese government and the party can be, and how there's no remedy. You can't do anything about it. And look how the party had to change quickly because of the protests.
The white paper movement.
So I come away more encouraged.
Yeah.
The other thing that's encouraging is all my friends who go back to China now, they're amazed. Every member of the elite people, Gaoji Ganbu, wealthy business, they hate Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
And they say so, even in restaurants. When I was in China, we were very careful in restaurants because they have hearing devices under the table.
Yeah.
But my friends say, of course, they can't publish anything. But the contempt, the criticism that they give Xi Jinping is remarkable, even though the masses continue to think he's great.
Yeah.
So there's hope there.
Yeah.
I think many people will have a reaction against this extreme suppression.
Yeah.
In 1968, I published my first book, The Criminal Process in China. That was the height of the Cultural Revolution. I said, this will pass. The Chinese people will not tolerate this. There will be a reaction. And when Deng Xiaoping came, you had a reaction. There will be a reaction to Xi Jinping. But I won't witness it.
Yeah, we can. It's it's really hard to predict. So it can be changed in months, maybe years. But no one knows.
Could happen tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's more likely 10 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to be patient,
Yeah. Yeah.
but ready. And that's why I'm happy.
Yes. Yeah. We are preparing
You're
for
getting
the
ready.
political change. Yeah. Yeah. So we just mentioned between 1957 and 1979, the number of Chinese lawyers was 0. And now the number of Chinese lawyers is more than
650,000.
Right, 650,000.
That's got to have some influence eventually, even though they're twisting legal education.
Right.
650,000, that's a pretty good group.
And, after early 2000s, a group of human rights lawyers became active. And at its peak, the number of human rights lawyers or diehard lawyers could be nearly 1,000. But Xi Jinping could not tolerate these kind of human rights lawyers. And then there was a roundup of rights lawyers.
Well, the lawyers' day will come.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of amazing that the civil society was developed after 1989 and Jiang Zemin era, Hu Jintao era, that thousands of non-governmental organizations were founded, and then they could do works about labor rights, environmental, LGBT, feminism, but now Xi Jinping or the Communist Party leaders cracked down on civil society, and a lot of human rights organizations were shut down, and the dissidents, rights activists were arrested and detained. So how do you evaluate the growth of civil society under a totalitarian system?
Ask your colleague, Xu Zhiyong. That's where they are. Then you're lucky you aren't there.
Yeah, so I was like a disbarred. I was banned from teaching, fired by the university, and detained and tortured. And then, yeah, they round up a human rights law, like 709, the July 9 crackdown, that almost every active human rights lawyer was arrested or disappeared. But I know some lawyers, human rights defenders in China still continue their work, even though the risk has been much higher than before.
Yes, and I don't know how wise that is. You're playing a great role because you're free. They're locked up.
Yeah.
So it's always a question, is it worth sacrificing your freedom in order to be a good example? Look at Navalny.
Yeah, that's a question, but I think the hope should be in China.
Of course.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah, so
But so are the prisoners.
Yeah. So the prisoners, or the people who are not in prison but who face that daily harassment, monitor, and they can play a role in the future.
What's interesting is the range of punishments that the party can give to silence people. They force you into retirement, silence, no teaching,
Right.
no publication, no foreign contact,
Marginated,
no travel.
marginalized and isolated.
But you're not in jail yet.
Right.
Then Xu Zhiyong and company, they go to jail.
Right.
It's quite interesting. And who disappears? If we had perfect knowledge, it would be a great, great subject.
Yeah. But the Communist Party is not able to put everyone into prison.
Right.
And then, the people are not happy with Xi Jinping, with the system, and they could not do anything now, maybe, but in the future. And when there's opportunity, they can take action, like the white paper movement.